When my grandma died, my Babbo, and she decided to exit this plane on a high note. It was Christmas time, and I knew I was going to be saying goodbye soon. We still got one last Christmas, although it was weird, it was different. It was in a hospital. She did not feel good. And we should have decided to leave this plane. She did it on New Year's Eve because she, I'm sure, wanted to see those fireworks from a different vantage point. From all over the world. Repeatedly every hour in a different spot. So I'm sure she was just like, here, next time zone, next time zone. I lost both of my grandmas that year. Babbo was the one we spent most of our Christmases with. Grandma we spent Thanksgivings with. And then Papo followed suit 2 years later. And I can remember not being able to listen to Christmas music. I couldn't. And my sister loves Christmas music. And so we would be traveling to wherever we were traveling to, and Sarah's singing at the top of her lungs whichever Christmas song was on, and I'm looking out the window, bawling, so much so that I couldn't sing. I couldn't get a note out of my body. And I think it's so important to recognize how we grieve differently, that it presents in us so differently. And so I'm going to talk a little bit today about what that grief might look like, why I chose to set aside a Sunday for this, what does love have to do with all of this, and how are we going to move through honoring those feelings and leaning into love. And this grief is, it's like a chameleon. Not really a chameleon. It takes on its own life depending on the person. Because some people decide, I want to celebrate the holidays. They're all still in it. There's some that are hurting that they're like, I can't. I can't Christmas this year. I can't holiday this year, whichever holiday it is, because we have a bunch right now. Some people distract themselves by wanting to be the grand poobah of decorating all the festivities. Like, I'm going to plan it, I'm going to cook it, I'm going to decorate everything, we're going to host it at my house so that I could be so distracted that I don't have to think that I'm sad. Or you may be struggling to do anything. And that's okay. Both of those are okay because it's your grief journey. You may have times where you are so busy that you don't want to think or feel, and then there are some times where you don't even know how to think or feel. You're kind of in that numb stage. There's times when you cry randomly and you don't know why. And it could be for the weirdest things, like, well, the Hallmark commercials will get you for sure. I'm certain of it. And the Coca-Cola ones sometimes too. And our hearts hurt. Like, I think about this time when you have memories that come in, and it even doesn't necessarily have to be a grief that's attached to death. It could be a grief that's attached to what you had pictured your Christmas to look like. Because some of us are going through a grief process that you're missing someone because your relationship is strained. You're in a situation that you'd rather not be in. Like, this just doesn't feel like Christmas. You may have that aching need to feel the presence of that person, to hear their voice. I will still myself to see if I could still imagine the voices of my loved ones who have transitioned. I work really, really hard to try to recapture that. Luckily now, there's, videos and things that we can go look at if we want to. But I can, after I lost my Mimo, the great-grandma, at the age of 15, can still hear her call me her little darling. And we may be grateful for that normalcy. Everything is normal. This is the only thing in my life that is normal. We sing Christmas carols, we do presents, we have whatever meal we have. It's the normal part of what's not normal anymore. And then you may have people that they just want it to be over already. Can we just get past this Christmas stuff so I can stop pretending to be joyful? Today, you don't have to be if you don't want to be, at least not in this time frame within this service. You can if you want to. I welcome it. But if you need to break down, break down. It's safe. It's comfortable here. And you've got people who will surround you with love and energy. Some people struggle to just even be present because their mind is so preoccupied with all of it. And then there's the possibility that you experience every single thing I just mentioned. Anybody? I have. And so, why? Why, Pastor Leslie, did you decide to pick this? Something that's sad during such a joyful time of year? Because 35 to 40% of you are experiencing some type of grief. I can't not try to find ways to nurture everyone during that time when it's different. We could be experiencing that loss that is death-related, the end of a relationship, a strained relationship, financial strife, a move, emotional strife, just dealing with your own stuff. My Christmas tree at my house right now. First of all, I got me a Charlie Brown Christmas tree from the Dollar General. So imagine what you might imagine a $25 Christmas tree might look like. And I'm fairly certain you're pretty accurate in what you see. I put it together. It's sitting beside my TV, just like that. I'm not really grieving any person per se. I'm just tired. I would rather spend my time admiring that cute little, so ugly it's cute tree in its bare splendor than to haul all of the stuff out of the attic, decorate it for, well, what were we looking at now, 15 days, and then haul it all back up. And so this time in our life doesn't have to be necessarily attached to people. It could just be, sometimes we just need to let your shoulders drop. To be, if what you need for Christmas to be meaningful for you right now is to just be, then by all means, do it. And when we're leaning into love, I look at the story of Jesus when he heard of Lazarus' death. And it's a peculiar story. Because this is also where he said, let the dead bury the dead. Same story. But the two things that stand out is Jesus wept. And he went to comfort his friends at the death of a close friend. And what I notice is that grief is an outward expression of love. If we didn't love, we wouldn't grieve. It almost can measure your depth of love in a way. Keep in mind that this doesn't have to be days and days and days and days of crying, because remember all the different ways I showed that you might exhibit grief? That making myself so busy I don't have to think about it? Yeah. When I looked in the Revealing Word, it said, love is the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. It's the very essence of our being that connects us. And from my understanding, love is eternal. It didn't start the moment we took a breath, and it doesn't stop when we finish our last one. So when I think about that, I think about stars. I mentioned stars was it last week? Maybe the week before. Anyways, recently. And stars remind me that even if we don't see them, that doesn't mean that they're not there. And I think about that with the loved ones that have transitioned on. And I think of that with loved ones that, for whatever reason, we can't be in the same space at the same time. Because you can still connect that love space to the love space because it is the essence that binds us together. In divine mind, love is the power that joins and binds in divine harmony, the universe and everything in it, the great harmonizing principle known to man. If anything is going to bind anything together and make harmony, it is love. And it's not the romantic love or when somebody does something funny and you're laughing at them, you're like, oh my God, I love you. Not the same kind of thing. This is that love that is almost undescribable. It's kind of like trying to describe God because God is love. And so in this kind of love, it is endless, full of life always, and it is tangible to us even though we can't see it. And so how do we connect that love when we can't see it? I can tell you there are times when I am fully aware of the presence of my grandparents. A lot of times I will see something that reminds me of them. There was an instance when I saw scissortails a lot, so they're migratory, so they come down sometimes, but they are very much a Oklahoma kind of bird. And I was like, oh, there's a nice scissortail. It wasn't until I almost hit a scissortail with the car that it dawned on me, Grandma, hi. Sorry, got it now. And I can walk into a room and smell the perfume that my grandmother used to wear, my Babo. There are times when I hear them. You can do anything you set your mind to. I'm proud of you. You've got this. From someone who was a mentor at one of the churches I worked at, don't let the small stuff get to you, kid. Don't sweat the small stuff. We still hear those things, and they come to us when we need them. I have my heirloom rose bush that blooms exactly when I need her to. She's probably doing whatever nature thinks she needs to do. But when I am knee-deep in it, I can step out of my house and go around, and I promise you guys, I have seen 200 blossoms on her. Things that we can do to connect, to honor ourselves, is to keep that space. You can light a candle, and even a candle for that someone that may still be on this plane that you just can't be with for whatever reason. It could be just that you live 500 states away. I exaggerate. Keep a chair at the table. Keep a place at the table. Write a letter or talk to that person. Let your intuition be what allows you to receive those love messages back. Create a ritual. Do an act of kindness in honor of the person. We regularly donate to St. Jude. My grandma, my Oklahoma grandma, donates to St. Jude because one of her children passed away at a young age. My Aunt Belinda. And so we've carried that on, St. Jude. And we also carry on other random acts of kindness to help see that some kids get a toy or whatever it is that they need. And that's from stories from my Babbo and Papo. And so today, we're going to be present for ourselves during this time. And I created to where we can have a time where we remember the person. So that way it can be someone who's transitioned, or it can be someone who is still here, but you just need to send that extra love to them. And because stars reminded me of that, just because we can't see them, we're going to have time where you come up and you can write the name or wherever you want to send energy to on the star. There's pens up here. There's a skinny end and a wider end, a thinner end. Anyway, a more fine point end and a not so fine point end. I recommend the finer point because the wood may absorb some of that ink and it may bleed open. These are up here for you. You can come down the center aisle. There could be 2 people, 1 on each side. And then as we have music to help us through this moment, you can go and take and hang one on the tree. If you have, there's 100 stars up here, so we have plenty. And I'm going to move this back so that there's writing space. So when the music starts, you can come up, you can write your name, walk that way to put it back on the tree, and then circle around and then come back to the center aisle, back to your seat. And give me a head nod if you understand the instructions. Okay. You got it. All right. And we will go ahead and begin this time together. And as you're waiting to come up, if you can do the love energy of holding that sacred space for each other as we come up.